April 16th, 1945. A sunny spring morning in Germany. If you looked at the road leading out of the city of Weimar, you would see something strange. You would see a parade. Hundreds of people. Men in expensive suits and fedora hats. Women in fur coats wearing lipstick and high heels. They were chatting. They were smiling. Some were even laughing. They looked like they were heading to a garden party or the opera, but they weren't going to a party. They were marching at gunpoint. Flanking them on both sides were American soldiers, grim-faced, dirty, fingers resting on the triggers of their M1 Garans. The soldiers weren't smiling. They were escorting these fine citizens up a hill called the Ettersberg, 5 miles away, toward a place the citizens claimed they knew nothing about, a place called Buchenwald. The civilians complained as they walked. "Why are we doing this? This is an outrage. My shoes are getting dusty." They believed this was a propaganda stunt. They believed the Americans were exaggerating. They believed they were innocent. But General George S. Patton had a very different opinion. Patton had seen the camp 2 days earlier. He had seen the ovens. He had seen the zoo the SS built for their amusement while prisoners starved to death. And he had decided that the innocence of Weimar was a lie. He wanted to shatter it. He wanted to take the most sophisticated people in Germany and rub their noses in the raw sewage of their own history. "They say they didn't know," Patton said. "Fine, let's take them on a tour." This is the story of the Parade of Shame. It is the story of how the cultural capital of Germany became the neighbor of hell, and the moment the smiles were wiped off the faces of the German elite forever. To understand the horror of Buchenwald, you first have to understand the beauty of Weimar. Weimar wasn't just any German city. It was the soul of Germany. The city of Goethe, the city of Schiller, the birthplace of the Bauhaus movement. A city of libraries, theaters, parks, and philosophy. The people who lived there believed they were civilized, educated, morally superior. And yet, just 5 miles away, up a scenic, tree-lined road, stood a factory of death. Buchenwald was established in 1937. For 8 years, it operated in plain sight. SS officers lived in comfortable homes. Their wives shopped in Weimar's boutiques. They attended the same concerts. They walked the same streets. The smoke from the crematorium drifted over the city. Ash settled on windowsills. And yet, when the Americans arrived, the civilians of Weimar all said the same 4 words. "Wir haben nichts gewusst." We knew nothing. They claimed the smoke came from a factory. They claimed the skeletal men seen near the railway were volunteers. They lived in a bubble of denial. That bubble burst on April 11, 1945. The U.S. Third Army arrived. The SS fled. The prisoners who were still alive took control of the camp. When Patton arrived a few days later, he thought he was prepared. He wasn't. Buchenwald was massive. 20,000 prisoners were still there. Walking skeletons, men weighing 60 pounds, children who had forgotten to smile. Patton walked through the gates. He saw piles of naked bodies stacked like firewood. Yellow skin, open eyes. Patton, old blood and guts, broke. He wrote in his diary, "I have never felt so sick in my life. This is not war. This is madness." He looked out toward Weimar. Civilians plowing fields, hanging laundry, ignoring the smell of death so strong American soldiers were vomiting. Patton turned to his staff. "Do the people in that town know about this?" "They say they don't, General." Patton slammed his riding crop against his boot. "They're lying," he said, "and I'm going to prove it." He called the provost marshal. "Get me the mayor, the professors, the lawyers, the businessmen. The wives of politicians. I want the best of Weimar. American MPs knocked on doors of villas and shops. You're going for a walk, they said. Put on your coats. Some protested. I'm a doctor, one man shouted. An MP pointed his rifle. Start walking. About 1,000 civilians marched uphill. At first, the mood was light. They chatted. They fixed their hair. They smiled at cameras. Then the wind shifted. The smell hit them. Not fresh death, old death. Greasy, heavy, unforgettable. Handkerchiefs came out. Perfume was sprayed. The MPs pushed them forward. No stopping. They reached the iron gate. Jedem das Sein, to each his own. They walked inside and stepped into hell. Prisoners stood silently behind barbed wire watching, eyes empty, bodies broken. The crematorium courtyard came next, a trailer piled with naked corpses. One woman fainted. An MP nudged her with his boot. Get up, he said. You haven't seen anything yet. Inside the pathology lab, the SS souvenirs were displayed. Shrunken human heads, tattooed skin, objects made from murdered prisoners. The men wept openly. Some wept. An American officer spoke perfect German. You say you didn't know? This was made here while you drank coffee and went to the theater. No one answered. At the quarantine zone, the stench was unbearable. American soldiers wore masks. The civilians were not allowed any. A former prisoner pointed at a banker. I remember you. You saw me. You looked away. The banker collapsed. I didn't know, he sobbed. No one believed him. When the tour ended, the civilians walked back down the hill in silence. No smiles, no chatter. Weimar would never look the same again. Eisenhower expanded Patton's order. He demanded journalists, congressmen, and editors be brought to the camps. I want witnesses, he said. He knew denial would come, and he wanted the truth preserved. In the days that followed, several prominent Weimar citizens committed suicide. The shame was too much. Patton's response was cold. Good, he said. Maybe the rest will learn. The forced tour of Buchenwald raises a question we still face today. How much does the average citizen know about the crimes of their government? The people of Weimar weren't pulling the triggers, but they looked away. Patton understood something simple. Silence is complicity. On that April day in 1945, he forced them and the world to open their eyes. Do you think the citizens truly didn't know, or were they lying to protect themselves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want the story of what happened when American soldiers took revenge on SS guards at Dachau, click subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.